plays football. He
Yeah.
plays, not he played. You know? So it's a present thing. So I think for me that's really plays a significant role. The event and also being in the public space at the time, and also playing for and also representing your country. I think that's was great for me.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are on social media on Twitter. It's 10bet, the number 10, BET bet _ZA. Instagram 10bet ZA, no underscore there on Facebook, 10bet South Africa. Today we're using the hashtag 10bet Bafana. I think it's important that we use that hashtag and spread it out there so that we're able to tell the good story of Bafana and the support that they're receiving, and how 10bet is doing all they can to bring Bafana closer to you. And by you, goes largely to the community out there that is in support of Bafana. Percy, you've played outside of South Africa. You've played in what is popularly known as the biggest league in the world. You've played now in a league that is very strict when it comes to sponsorship and understanding as well. What has that done for your understanding of the brand marriage, sponsorship and football?
Well, I believe I define brand sponsorship as a tool to grow two partners together, but also to bring two brands together for a good development work, because we find that a lot of brands are communicating, are trying to engage with the community through sports, and that's how we define sports, and that's how I would see sports sponsorship in football.
And what's the difference if you look at where you were in the EPL, which is very sponsorship driven and very over the top when it comes to that, and very well managed. That's why they say it's the biggest league in the world. Commercially, it is one of the most successful leagues in the world as well, compared to when you were in South Africa, compared to when you're in Egypt.
And look, where I was, what I saw was that there's a good relationship between two brands, and then you find that the brands are more closer to each other, so the working environment is really, really close. And then you see that when the players, they celebrate their milestones. So you see that the brands come in and celebrate the milestone together. So which is something that we don't see.
Oh wow, so like if you have your 50th Bafana cap, for instance, 10bet comes through and does something and kind of like, makes that a thing for you, that sort of thing.
Yes, that's the relationship that you see with two brands coming together. So it's not only one brand driven, but you see them coming together to celebrate the milestone. It can be from goals, it can be from assists, it can be from winning the World Cup. But you see them coming together so that they both reach the community and send the message together.
Are you writing all this down, Nick?
Yeah.
I think we're making notes here. And what about in Egypt? Because our perception of how strict it is there, because of course of the religious beliefs as well. So there are things that you can do with sponsorship and branding. How different is that?
No, it's actually the opposite. What you find is that the media and sponsorship is so huge, and then you see it everywhere in the roads. They send the message to the people because the population is great also there, and then you can not only send the message through social media, so it's also good that they use the sponsorship to send the message to the people, and then the media is big in Egypt.
Wow. So 2010 was probably the height of when we saw what we're speaking about. What is, before I go to sports, what is Nick, I mean, as then I can imagine somebody who's ready to get into this, who's looking at it from the outside. That was great. We saw so many brands come together. We saw so many brands even empowering individual players, but the team and reaching out to people. What is your memory of that era in partnerships?
Yeah. The mic. Good? Yeah, I think that era's partnership was quite groundbreaking for South Africa as a nation, but I think for sports industry as well, and the various partnerships that we realized during the time, there was quite several cross-leveraging opportunities for brands to come together and really bring not just the experience to life, but the World Cup, Africa's World Cup. So I think for me personally, all the various leveraging and engagement with the fans that the brands were able to execute was quite memorable and ensuring that at every moment leading to match day or on match day, how they were bringing those fan experiences to life. So I think that's quite critical outside of football, because fans themselves, want to go watch the team play and participate, but also as brands, we need to really create, authentic match day experiences for fans. Make it memorable. They must want to go back and support Bafana because of that match day experience that they're actually able to experience.
Did you feel it? How different was it from being on the inside during that era? I can imagine some of you go tell unenqwaba ezinto ezibuya kule khampani ngalena zibuya kule khampani bekuwumtapo nje.
Yeah. No, listen, man. It's just great. It's one of those memories that when you're inside, you're experiencing, but it feels like you're not part of it. You're outside, but you're inside. I don't know how to explain it to you, but that's how I felt. So I had the car spot. I was sponsored by what's this car thing?
They didn't do a very good job, did they?
Citron.
Okay.
I had Citron. I had Ultramel. I had a number of them. So my point is, people wanted to. My point is, brands wanted to be involved. International brand as well. I had phone calls from Italy. I was sponsored by Nike at the time, so they used to ask me which boot. Now suddenly I get phone calls from Italy. Which boot are you gonna wear? And do you want us to do anything to the boot? Should we do that? Should we, change this? Should you, So what I'm trying to say is the relationship, as Percy has mentioned, and the two colleagues, the relationship was so significant that it felt like these people really appreciate you. And I strongly believe that that's what we need. We need these two partners, these two institutions to have that relationship, and most importantly, to communicate, and also to be on the ground, so that for the fans, they can see there's visibility, there is presence, and So, listen, man, I so wish that we can learn from the past, during the World Cup, and also bring those, whatever that we've learned from that into the present.
This is just from my own curiosities, boys. So when did the phone call stop? Is it after the France game, or is it after the World Cup ends? Because there was a shift back to, we're packing up, we're leaving.
I mean, let's be honest. So when they packed, they're moving to the other destination, which was obviously Brazil at the time. But obviously, they were always gonna move. They're always gonna.
So it was an occasional thing. Was for this occasion.
And I think it should be a continuation, as you mentioned. That there must be a continuation. It cannot be because of this and then it ends there. It should be something that it's one of the values and your ethos that will always be part of the brand's principles.
And I can imagine this is coming at a great time for the team. Under Hugo Bruce, you guys seem to have a new lease on life. You've qualified for AFCON now. That support is needed now more than ever to communicate back to the people, to communicate to South Africans, to say, hey, we need you now, let's do this together. I can't think of a better time for 10Bet to come on than right now.
Definitely. We hit the nail on the head there. We felt the love, the last game against Morocco. That was probably the best turnout that I've ever experienced, playing for Bafana, and you could see, them giving us that extra motivation to keep going, to keep fighting, against a quality side like Morocco. We showed that we can compete against the best, and, with 10Bet coming, now, so we're looking forward to it, just to engage more with the supporters, the fans. I mean, I can remember a few years ago, we used to be in the malls all the time. I don't know how many times I was in Maponya Mall, engaging with the fans. And for the last few years, we haven't had that. It's just them and us, so we need to bring it together. And because like I said, we are all in this together. Everyone wants to see Bafana doing well, but we can't do it on our own. We need everyone's support, motivation. When things are tough out there, they give us that extra motivation and help. You could see against the Morocco, you know, the last 10 minutes when they're pumping balls in our box, you know, we keep fighting because, you know, the crowd is behind us, you know, the fans. So we just urge them to continue supporting us through good and bad, and you can see, you know, the spirit amongst the team is good now.
And Percy, it's not that South Africans aren't in love with Bafana Bafana. It's that South Africans hold you guys to such a high standard that they'd like to see a continuous winning Bafana, which is impossible to win every single game. Completely understand. But how important is it that, and you had said before, you know, that we need to be given time. This Bafana Bafana needs to come together. How far are we in that, and how important is it that the results keep coming from your points as well? Are you guys holding yourself accountable to the results? Because that then brings the fans.
Yeah, look, I think South Africans are very demanding because we are a proud nation. And then South Africa really believes that they have good players who play in the league or abroad. So whenever it's time to compete, we always enjoy seeing South Africans top. So we also want to get there, but right now we've had our difficulties. But then you can see now the team is getting better. And then the win against Morocco also helps because it shows the good things that we've been doing. They came out well in that game, but then that's not only our highlight. I mean, the whole progress that we've been on, it's what we want to do. And then we are happy to have the confidence of South Africa back, and then we are looking forward to the AFCON and the World Cup to show them that we have improved. And then now, it would be nice to have more support from them, and it will show on the game.
How important is it that we get the results from Bafana Bafana, the winning spirit, from a 10-bet point of view?
Yeah, I think we have to look at, as Percy was saying, you know, the fan appreciation of the brand. And of course, fans always want to see their team win. You know, there's so much, you know, emotional investment from the fans in terms of, you know, what's happening behind the scenes and the performances. So from a 10-bet perspective, it's important, of course, because as I say, you know, as Ronwen also highlighted, marrying this partnership is all about, you know, being ambitious, striving, you know, for greatness. So that does come with performing well, of course. And at the same time, we also have to understand on that journey, there may be a lot of hurdles or a number of hurdles that you experience. So you may not always win, but I think it's the attitude and what you really setting aside for yourself to achieve in the future. So I think that's very important for us as a brand as well.
Remember, ladies and gentlemen, on Twitter at the moment, if we can, with our tweets, accompany it with the hashtag 10bet Bafana. That's the number 10, B-E-T, Bafana. That's the hashtag for this morning's breakfast. Proudly brought to you by 10bet, endeavoring on you know, getting that feeling that Ronwen speaks about back, getting closer to the fans, getting closer to you as members of the media. That's what this relationship is about. You know, just to make sure that we're able to have this access, able to you know, maybe at some point they won't be so uptight anymore because we would have done these a lot more than what we have now. We can go to Maponya and be closer to people as well. So let's get into the football now. You've been watching Hugo Bruce's Bafana. You know, we saw him when he came out, chops and changes, younger players only. We saw him progress to advancing all players and looking around and getting the squad together. What have your thoughts been over the last 2 years of Bafana?
Thanks for bringing up that question. Listen, the first thing that we should look at is there's always a blame, you know. It's unfortunate that the people that speaks when they see the results, they forget about the end goal. What is it that Bafana is trying to achieve? And Percy mentioned one thing, he said, because we're a demanding nation, we expect results regardless, you know. And he has proven to us, the current coach, that listen, you gotta be patient, you know. Rome wasn't built in 2 months, you know. So currently we can see that progress. We're starting to see what Bafana is trying to achieve. We're starting to see the play. They don't just play for the sake of playing. There is a purpose, you know. There's something that they want to achieve. Is it good for those who wants the instant results? Obviously, it's not that great, but in the long run, obviously we celebrate. I've seen them, I've watched them. I get disappointed when the results are not going our way, which is natural, you know, for any South African, even for the players. But am I grateful? Am I happy to see where they are heading? Yes, definitely. I'm proud to say yes. I'm a former, and also I support them, and I'm a big fan. So there is a progress. They've qualified for the AFCON. They're gonna start with the World Cup qualifiers, and beating Morocco was also a statement to say, listen, this is something that we are working on. It's not something that we have not arrived into our destination. Most probably we're still far ahead. We're so behind that we're just hoping that coming to these qualifiers for the World Cup, we can then do well so that we can qualify for the World Cup. There is progress, but the unfortunate part is that the progress is only one-sided. It's only Bafana. Are the fans progressing to support Bafana? It's only Morocco game. There was a little bit of progress. We then asked 10-bet to say, come on board, close that gap. We need to close that gap. We need to have activities that will bring back that relationship between sponsors, players, Bafana team, and the public at large. So for me, there's been, we're moving to something positive, and I'm definitely sure that we'll achieve the end goal. I so wish that the coach one day would show us his play, so that sometimes if we lose a match, we're like, but this is not what we are really looking at. We're not going to focus on this. We know where we're going, as a nation,
Percy smiled when you said that, so maybe he knows something we don't. Tell us about this coach. I mean, I have the opportunity, alongside some of my colleagues at the SABC, every now and then to sit with him. If there's one thing we know about Coach Hugo Bruce, is that he's a straight shooter. Even about you, when you weren't playing, when you were injured, he'd speak. He speaks about you. We're having conversations just now about it. Who is he outside of us? When you guys are yesterday at 4, you were training at Dobsonville. Tell us about Coach Hugo Bruce.
The coach is very confident. I don't know if you guys see it. He is chilled, but he's a very confident coach, and he tries and tell us that we should also be confident because we are good players and we have good players in South Africa. But anyhow, he also tells it the way it is if we are not doing the work, if we are not running back, and then also if we are not playing today, he wants us to play. And then we are starting to see that his demands are getting closer into us, so we can easily share that okay, he demands so much, we give him so much, and then he does not like this, so we'll have to change that.
Robert, how's the coach as a manager of the team? Like I said, we have conversations. He's a very straight shooter. Ronwen's toe is too big now. I'm not quite. He's that kind of guy. How is he to you? I mean, you as captain as well. I can imagine the relationship is a lot closer.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the guy is so relaxed. He's so chill, and it rubs off on us. In camp. The vibe, the spirit is so high, and like you said, he's straightforward. So everyone knows the way things must be done in camp. He puts down the boundaries, and that's how it is, and he doesn't compromise. And like Percy said, we can see all his demands are paying off. Because sometimes, as players, we want to always do things our own way. But now we can see, that he understands international football, and that's the main thing. He understands how to qualify for AFCON, how to win AFCON, and he's given us the platform, and he showed us, if you do this and that, it's possible, and the main thing, he's so relaxed and he makes everyone calm. I mean, all the new guys, he don't call you in the office and keep you for 10 minutes and, telling all these things. No, he calls you there, he says, you are here for a reason. I like what I see at the team. Just come with that same spirit into the team and you'll play. Imagine him telling us yesterday that everyone is going to play. I mean, so everyone, all the new guys are going to play, in this camp, and we haven't seen this before. I think over the last 2 years, I think he's given caps to close to probably over 30 players, and that's amazing, So the pool of the Bafana players are so much bigger now. So anyone, there's a lot of injuries now. Anyone will play, and they'll do well.
Of course, he did mention previously that in this first game against Namibia in particular, you wouldn't be playing. There's players that are main players that wouldn't be playing. Is that what the conversations you're having at the moment? And how do those conversations come out? Do you sit down with them? Does he say, hey, this is my plan, this is my thinking? Or is it just, this is the squad, deal with it?
No, he obviously spoke to the goalkeepers first, and he said, leading up to the World Cup qualifiers, so we already know that Veli is playing, then myself, and next game it's Ricardo and myself going into the World Cup qualifiers, because anything can happen, you know, so them having that experience throughout playing, and it's tough opponents, you know, and with the squad, I mean, like I said, we had a meeting, I think it was Tuesday night when everyone was here, and he said, everyone sitting in this room is going to play, you know, so, and that's the plan, you know, so it's an opportunity. He's giving everyone opportunity to go out there and play. Everyone must be in the right frame of mind. I'm not here to add numbers, I'm here to play.
We've got players doing well internationally at the moment that are part of the squad. One of them is playing in a league that you know all too well, a league that you know you dreamt of being in, didn't quite work out as what you would have wanted, but Lau Foster, there he is, 2 goals in 2 games. What's the relationship between the two of you, and what are you speaking about as far as that is concerned?
No, that is my boy. I mean, I spend like 3 hours with him in Belgium and talking and sharing what I've been learning with him. And I'm proud to see him do so well because I feel like he deserves it. He has to be in that space. And it's a good platform for him to show them in Europe that we still have quality to play in the EPL. And he just has to keep going and keep learning because it shows. And he also has company with him there, Vincent. So hopefully they will make a great relationship going forward. But I'm proud of him, and then I just want to see him keep growing.
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't want this to be an us thing here. I wonder if there is a mic that we can circulate, or if these are the two, then we'll have to take one of these to the media as well. The players do need to go at 10 o'clock for Bafana engagements. Remember, on social media, it's 10bet Bafana. That's the hashtag that we're going with. So let's have these conversations. Unfortunately, we're not going to get an opportunity for one-on-ones because players are going to need to go at 10 o'clock is what I've been told. So let's have this engagement out here. I know we love one-on-ones, guys. We all do. We all want our own corner and our own conversations. But like I said, as we grow in doing this and as we do it a little bit more, as 10bet makes these opportunities available more, we will endeavor to make sure that we try our best to get it suited the way that we all like. But as this is the first of its kind, we want to try and keep to the very strict camp rules so that we don't violate those. So I'm going to give the mic around. I would say, pass on if no saying okay, Garing is there. Second enough. No, Garing is there. Of course, Garing is there. Of course.
Okay. Yeah, good morning. And Ronwen, this is directed to you. You said that you feel a bit sad that the fans are not coming to the party. As a senior player who's been there for some time, you've played away. We played in Liberia, it was packed. But when we played at Orlando, it was empty. Where do you think is the problem with our fans not coming to the party to support the team? As we see, especially in Gauteng, but I think outside the province is much better. What do you think is the problem with Gauteng?
And I want you to answer the question, but firstly, the feeling of going to Liberia, going to Morocco, and it's a packed stadium. They're all singing, and then you come home, you know, and it's a handful. So before you go into the why, I can only imagine that feeling of not only of disappointment, but the opposition as well must be looking at you guys and thinking, is this it? Tell me what that's like, coming out there to do your walkabout, and you know, there's 15 of us, including a couple of journalists.
Yeah, obviously it's not nice, you know, the players, we don't enjoy that. But you know, we'll take the blame, you know, it's on us. Like I said, we need to do more, you know, to be out there, you know. Like I said before, we used to be in the malls all the time engaging with the fans. Now they don't know us, you know, so we'll take the responsibility, you know, and I'll, with Percy and the other captains, and, you know, maybe discuss it with the technical team to say that we need to do more of this. You know, after this we are going to a school, so this is a start, you know, of things to come. And we need to mend this relationship, because there's a good thing going now with Bafana. We need to all get involved. We need each other, and yeah, sometimes it feels like it's you're playing during COVID times again. So yeah, but in saying that, last press conference, I urged the fans to come out, and they did. So it's now I'm going to take the opportunity to thank them for coming out and giving us that wonderful atmosphere at the stadium. Like I said, that was probably the best atmosphere I had, for Bafana game.
And for you, even worse, you come from an Alaki where every single game is just red, packed, people outside the stadium, the entire city, you come home to a national team, and also the Egyptian team when they play. You know that they play, you feel it everywhere, to a Bafana team.
Yeah, look, I also believe that if we start winning more games, the fans will come. I mean, when the results are good, everyone wants to be part of it and enjoy the moment. But I believe that the South Africans will come and we'll be able to create a great atmosphere, because they also want to be part of it. They also want to be part of it, but we need to make them happy. And then we'll get the results and they'll be there, I'm hoping.
Thank you very much.
Kamhan Mukhale from YFM. This is a question to Percy. Percy, I'm looking at the strikers that are in camp right now. It's yourself, it's Lyle, it's Akele, strikers that are finding the back of the net on a regular basis. So going into this weekend, Namibia and the DRC, what are the conversations like amongst you as strikers in making the point that whoever that gets selected amongst you guys, you make it a point that we get a positive result, not only just on these 2 international friendlies, but moving forward as well?
Yeah, look, at the moment it's for us to keep the relations back again. I mean, we haven't seen Lebu in a long time, so we missed him. And then we are also happy that he's doing well, but not only him, Zakele is also doing well. And then we want to have that competition up front, so that we can get the goals, but also to be able to know which combination works better, leading to AFCON, and leading to the World Cup qualifier. So we have that time right now to try and work together and see what works for the other one, what works for Lyle, what works for me, or what works for Lebu. So we have that time right now to actually create that.
And the keepers are suffering.
But with that being said, you mentioned just the 3, but there's still Ronwen, who's doing well in the States. There's still Ukashas, who just hasn't had time to play, but the coach has mentioned that he's still a player that he's looking at. You think of that and you think to yourself, surely, and he did mention it, the coach will say, at some point he's going to have to make decisions on all of these strikers, because he can't take 10 strikers. When you hear something like that and you think something like that, and Zakele's banging in the goals, Lyle's banging in the goals, you had possibly one of the best seasons of your life this past season. The pressure?
No, it's good to have everyone doing well, because when they are confident, then South Africa is confident. We need these players to come to the national team confident, so that when we go into any game, we don't need anyone to say, "Hey, my face, come up, be there." The man is confident. So we need these players to be doing it in their teams, so that we can win games with the national team. And in the past, I think that was the secret. Most of the players that were winning, even before the World Cup, most of those players were doing well abroad, and then they were doing well locally. So we need that also in the national team.
I'm not sure whether, there we go.
Percy, Dalmania from Sakanaduma. I want to ask you, on Tuesday you touched on it a bit at training, where you said that you had struggled with injuries and you hope now that it's behind you. Just want to ask, what have you been doing to ensure that it's behind you? You look like you've bulked up. I'm not sure if it's the food in Egypt or what, but you do look in much better physical shape. So I just want to know just a bit more about that work you've been putting in to ensure that injuries don't disturb you as they did in maybe the season before.
Yeah, look, what is happening right now with Al is that I don't play 90 minutes anymore. I don't know if you guys noticed that, because I always got injured in the last 75 minutes to 90, so I play less minutes. But then also I do a lot of work in the gym before and after. Even whenever I'm okay, I still keep on with the program. And then I'm trying to strengthen also my legs, also the upper body. So yeah, I mean, that's been the secret so far.
If we can move the mic back, I'm not sure what it is. Oh yeah, Mashati and Kalahu here in the front. And while we get it to them, Percy, does this mean you sat with the team analyzed your injury times, and they decided that because of that, they'll be moving you out or substituting you at this time? Was that a conversation that was had?
Yeah, that's the conversation we had, and also we decided that the overload was too much. Because also the traveling plays a role in my injuries. The first one I came to the national team, we were still doing pre-season, and I got injured. And the second one, it was late also in the match, where I was supposed to go out. Yeah, it's not nice to go out, but then they always try and do that to help me so that I can play the whole season. I don't know if this season they will change, but then last season that's the talk we had, and they believed that I just need to play less minutes and not every game also.
The Citizen. Percy, I mean, you've played for Sundowns, you've played for Al Ahly, teams that, you know, always challenged. As far as this Bafana group is concerned, going to the AFCON, you know, are we ready to challenge, or is it just maybe part of the progress to say, okay, let's do well and see what we take from that AFCON? Or would you say the team is ready to challenge and just not there to make up numbers? Maybe extend the same question to our skipper, Ronwen.
Look, I think we want to do better than the last AFCON we played in. And then we believe we have a strong team when everyone is back also from their injuries. So I feel like you guys should be really looking forward to this AFCON. We'll do you guys proud. I mean, the chance is there. The chance is there for us to go all the way out. No, we don't have to put other people higher than us. We really believe in ourselves also. And then that's the first thing that we must do going to the AFCON, is to believe in ourselves that we can do it. I mean, we did it before, but then we could not beat Nigeria. If we did beat Nigeria, and then the coach also said it, that the group is more difficult in the AFCON than it gets. It doesn't get easier, but it gets better after the group. And then now we want to do something that has been never done before, is to go all the way out. And now we'll try.
No, we've got the belief. We've got the coach who's got the experience as well as to how to win it. And he done it a similar route, you know, with Cameroon before, where people didn't understand his reasonings. And you can see it happening again. You know, we are peaking at the right moment, and he's got his squad now, you know. And like I said, the spirit is so high amongst each other that we believe that we can challenge. You know, we can go all the way, and you know, we need to dream big. You know, I mean, why go there if we don't believe that we can win it? You know, and the main thing for us now is obviously to see the group and to get out of the group. That's the main thing. Like Percy said, then it becomes a bit more easier. You know, but it will be difficult as well. You know, because then you're playing the big powerhouses. You know, but I mean, we faced them now in the last 2 years. We've played Ghana back to back. We've played Morocco back to back. So we know, you know, those games, you don't need any motivation. You know, it's the smaller games, you know, that's very difficult. And there's no small games in international football anymore. Everyone's got a professional league now, you know, and that's the difference than a few years ago, where were no professional leagues in some countries. You know, now it's difficult. So when you go to a Liberia, they make it so difficult for you, you know, because they've got players playing all over Europe now. So yeah, we've got the belief, and we've got the team and the technical team to go all the way.
I want to just piggyback on something you just said, that the coach has got his team now. You've been, I mean, both of you have been there since the beginning of the coach, when he was picking, like you said, the 30, 40, 50 players that he's called up during this time. Do you feel like that? Do you feel like that now he's got his core team? Or do you still, how did it feel at the time when, you know, every camp would be different players altogether compared to what it is now? Be honest, I can see that little smile.
Yeah, it was difficult. You could see that the coach wasn't sure, and obviously that rubbed off on us as well, and we weren't sure. But in saying that, we had good results then with the World Cup qualifiers. So And that's just the spirit he has as a coach. You know, even he can play with any 11 players, he'll make you believe that you can win. You know, and that's the main thing. And he always tells you, you are here for a reason. I don't give out caps just for the sake of it. He said, when you walk in this door, you must perform, and you must be carrying the hopes of 50+ million people, you know, so he won't play with his job like that. And yeah, you can see over the last year, obviously we learned the hard way, losing to France, losing to Morocco, losing to Ghana, and he felt that we were not physically strong enough. And you can see now we've got a bigger team. And when I look back and you look at when we won the AFCON back then, if you can see the squad and how big they were, from the goalkeeper right to the striker, you had, you know, may soul rest in peace, Phil Masinga, Mark Williams, and all of them are physically big, you know, and you know Africa is difficult, it's very physical, you know, so, and the coach realized, you know, that we're a very small nation. So as you can see now, we're very big, and it helps.
Well, not everyone.
That's what the skill.
You know?
That's right.
Come on. It's going to be even more difficult come AFCON because it's away from home. But it's going to be easier as well because 10 Bait then, you know, fills that gap as we've been speaking. Although Bafana's all the way out of South Africa to bring them closer. It's such a huge and beautiful timing and gap for 10 Bait to fill that space. What can we expect from a 10 Bait point of view when the team is away at AFCON?
Yeah, most certainly. I feel it's always important to always, you know, be cognizant of, you know, where the team is playing, whether it's home or away, and how are we still, you know, being part of the opportunity to bring the team closer to the fans, even though they're in a different continent or country in this instance. So there will be various initiatives that will be rolling out from, obviously, our partnership with Bafana, and as Ronwen spoke about, you know, integrating the players as well into those various activations that will be rolling out and bring to the fans, and also the various other experiences which will allow the fans to still be united and back and support Bafana even from a distance, and be part of that, and still feel as though, you know, they're with the team and the team themselves. You know, the various content that will be created around that to ensure that the team can really see the support from the fans back at home, and that we are all united, even though we may not be at the same venues or countries, but you know, it has to have this sort of positioning around how imperative that we are still united, even playing at a different continent competition as well.
So even away games will start to feel like home games.
Yes, 100%.
I love it. But that's
Morning, my question is for the both gentlemen, Ronza and Percy. Since Coach Hugo Bruce has been in the country, he has been frank about some of the challenges that we have in our football. Of course, he has got stick from the fans and stuff, but most of the things he says are just, if we were to be honest, right. His assessment of frankness, has it taken you guys as players by surprise, or you know, do you discuss these things behind the scenes, or what was sort of your reaction and your reaction individually when he says the kind of stuff that he says in public?
No, we understand his reasoning. I mean, we as professionals, we know what he's speaking about. And I mean, like, if you can ask Percy, he spoke about Percy, but he had that discussion with Percy face to face as well. So the things he says out there, he won't just go throw a player under the bus. You know, he obviously discusses with you, and you know his reasonings for saying those things. So even when Dembazwane came back into the team, he had him in his, you know, in the hotel for like 10 minutes explaining why he left him out before and why he needs him now. So that's the type of guy he is. Everyone thinks he's harsh, and it's the total opposite. You know, he wants the best for us, and he wants the best for the country. So that's why he's being honest about everything. And like you said, most of the time he's right. It's just people try and cover it up, you know, and him opening up, you know, shows the type of human being he is. He wants to see South Africa on top.
Percy, perhaps, you know, let us into your personal circle a little bit here, because you've been on the receiving end of the coach speaking about you at the time when you weren't playing at Al-Ahly, and you were saying, I remember his exact words were, he's not the same Percy, he's not the same Dow, you know, which are remarks that would have gotten to you. But like Ronwen says, that there was a conversation with you as well. Perhaps let us into, you know, your feelings hearing him publicly and what that conversation would have been directly with you.
Yeah, most of the time I don't share what people say about me. But yeah, I mean, sometimes you have to be honest with yourself that I'm coming from 2 injuries. I'm not feeling the same. I'm trying to run in the game and it's not the same. I'm not match fit. So at some point I sat down with the coach and I was like, Coach, I'm also not match fit. I'm coming from injuries and I have to go to Zimbabwe and come back and play these games. I don't feel also okay. And then he was like, okay, what's the plan with you? Then I was like, no, I'll have to go back and work hard. And I went back and then I got injured again. So yeah, it was hard for me at the time, but I'm happy now that hopefully we are over my injuries.
Right, we need to wrap it up, guys. In doing so, I'm going to go to Sporting Park. I've got first 4 games, 2 in October, 2 now in September for Bafana. What are your predictions? What are your thoughts, having seen this team?
Like I mentioned earlier, we are a demanding nation, but obviously we want the team to do well. That's the first thing that we are focusing on, is to win all the games. And looking at past performance, it's highly possible, you know. And I'm sure they will do well, but for me, I strongly believe that they have an advantage. And yeah, it's gonna be the result will be desirable. That's
Thank you. If you could please close it for us. I mean, there's so much that we're waiting. 10 o'clock. We've got a minute for you to shut down. We've got a minute for you to shut down. We said 10. It's exactly 1 minute before 10. Very quickly, shut it down for us.
Yeah, look, I think it was a very great discussion we had this morning. Thanks to everyone for attending, all our guests, and the players as well as for me. So, with Percy and Ronwen here. So, very exciting times we are heading towards. I feel that, you know, as Andile mentioned, let's have more of these engagements. You know, let's create a community and fandom amongst the fans as well, and really get behind and support the team.
Thank you very much. It's still 30 seconds before 10, so we're out just in time. Thank you so much, guys, for coming through, and thank you so much for being part of a beginning of something that will be great. Nick is going to be here. We're going to be engaging with the media as well to find out how best we can do these things moving further. You'll be seeing me a lot around, Nick, as this is my new home as well, 10-bit. It is a home that I'm going to be with for a very long time, making sure that I carry the good news of 10-bit. So you'll be seeing a lot of Andile 10-bit with big smiles and alongside with some of the players as we do these. Thank you so much for being a part of this. We have to release the players. Percy, we wish you the very best of luck. Ronwen, captain as well. Thank you so much, and have a good morning. So he's going to be here with us. He's not going anywhere.